What allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, gentlemen, ladies.
It's gonna give you our report. We didn't get here last month, so this is the summary for May. It's always a month behind, but I do have. We have this present. This is for June. So they're really close. A little while, and I do have some reflection. That's asking the correction, which is the usual, because it's up there.
Right, for me. $870. Jonathan O'Hare, $363.17.
That's for the month of June, May. This is for June.
Another one for O'Hare, $799.30. Where here? $32.40.
Morning again. This is for the month of June. Operations, as always, we're still running 4 out of 6 ambulances. 100% operating, 2 operating ALS, 1 paramedic director car, 1 chase car. Basically, the new additions are this month compared to June. We have 94% increase in coverage of 2 or more paramedics.
What happens?
So, built the roster.
Okay.
Well, I'll get to that one in a second. Transfers. Last month, we had 87%. Well, the month before, for May, we were at 87%, over 2%. Now we're at 94%. There was only 2 days that had 1 paramedic. The transfers, which is another increase of 3%, was up to 49 last month. And we've been promoting and trying to pick up as many transfers as we can get. Personnel, we have no full-time openings for EMTs. We got 2 applications on the waiting list. 4 new part-time EMTs hired just for the transfer truck to go 24 hours a day. So we should pick up more going, right? Hopefully. 1 part-time paramedic was hired. 3 of the drivers that we sent to school have completed school. 1 of them has passed their EMT test and is now actually being trained as an EMT part-time.
You got more going through the driving training?
Yeah, I got more going up to get retrained.
Yeah.
I think I leave that up to the shift captain, but right now we're in between a shift captain. So with Randy being one part-time right now. 2 of them have to retake their test. 1 of them is actually taking their test today, and the other one I have no problem passing his test. He's ready for it. 3 new applications were received. All full-time paramedics have been hired, have been cleared. We are now at 7 out of the 8 current full-time and 1 unfulfilled part-time full-time opening. And we have 14 part-time paramedics, which we can run in and out. Training. Last month we did a advanced training for airway. This month we have a basic airway management training class, advanced cardiac life support class, and CPR research always. August, in light of August, we're doing emergency vehicle operations. The true EVOC class sponsored through Indiana State. Similar, everybody who drives an emergency vehicle should take and be certified in.
You doing that with sheriff's department?
I haven't talked to them yet, but we haven't got a date yet, so I'm gonna see if we can get it all 1 big class and have it somewhere. Maybe at the airport Because we have to have foam pads, skid pads and everything else, wet roads, dry roads. The last injury was when the chase car got wrecked in March. Ambulances, 3308, which is medic one. It just came back from the shop. It's up to date. It had to have a whole new front suspension, which was within the budget. It was only $2,400. Transfer truck is in service up to date. The brand new one, getting miles on it quick. We were busy. It's in service. It's got to go in Wednesday for a recall. 514 to reserve. It's in service. 85. It's got 210,000 miles on it. It's out of service right now. Sideline. Possible TCM, transmission control module. Might be the transmission. Not sure on that one. Chase car's up and running perfectly. Tahoe's up running perfectly. Base maintenance, just routine maintenance right now. I mean, we got new flags for the 4th of July because they're kind of starting to look a little faded. The memorial patio is currently in preparation. It's a 12 by 12 patio. Came out of donations. It's going on the northeast side where there's a little tree, because that little tree has a meaning while it's there. The grants are starting to open up again for all kinds of different things. Right now, I know Andrew wrote a grant for us for a new radios, which we desperately need. And we have requested a grant for a ATV or a gator for festivals. And yesterday, I mean, a pre-Fisher concert, but they keep having this stuff.
We had gone for something like that previously, but didn't get the grant.
Right, this is through a different place.
Okay.
Between Andrew and Tori.
It's still same type of equipment.
Yeah, the exact same, lights and sirens, labeled, and, ready to go, just like a Blueberry, the same
Right.
ones they're using in Blueberry. Hopefully we'll get that one.
And when you don't, while you're waiting, like, well, you've got two.
Sounds good to me, thank you. No donations and our PPE is all in good shape. That's it for the monthly report. The generator, I was have to bring up the next meeting because the two that I had, the estimates I had, I just found a third company, which I didn't even know existed. And that came from Randy. That was about a quarter of the price of their other two. What do you have? We need a generator at Knox Base and one at North Judson Base. Frank from the health department has offered, they have a 15,000 watt generator over there. It's a generator, it's on wheels. That will take the base place of the one that we can use up in North Judson. We just put a transfer switch in. The one at Knox Base requires one for the baby box. When the power went out, power went out. We couldn't open the doors. We lost the communications in there. We had to go buy portables, and we had one portable in there because the other one got broken in the accident. They had mine for most of the day. Leave something outside running with the radio turned on, and it's the amplifies the radio into the base.
Right.
So you had to do what you had to do this time.
And we have a generator on the Grovertown base.
Correct, and that's under service contract. The other thing is, we talked about it a long time ago about the cameras. For Picata. The complete estimate is $10,944.84. I would like to go ahead and do that. I have money that I can move over to cover that.
The front and rear both.
That's front and rear both. Medic, yeah. No, we already did that one. This is for the base itself.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Medic 3, when, as of June 2026, June or July, don't quote me on that one. The state requires us to have our own DEA license, which means we have to secure everything, narcotics and our drugs and everything else. So we have a camera and test that pointed right directly at the spot where it's going. So we know exactly who's in that room at any given time. The others for safety, we've had a couple unwanted guests walk in when the bay door was left open and just people say, well, this is missing. So
Yeah, and that'll take care of all.
That'll take care of all of that. I think Stanley said he's gonna be the one doing all the install. Break down each base, Ron's base, at a theory of $6,411. Judging the Kirby town base, total was 45,3370.
You wanna move down a little, so you're not on top of that wire?
I knew that fell off. That's what I have for the cameras.
You need more, you need cameras?
Yes, sir, please.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Thank you. Last thing I have is the travel request. It is for this Friday to go down to the National Memorial for Mike Wilcox. He's being inducted into the EMS National Memorial in DC. Hotel's covered. All I need is airfare. I got within my budget to get it. $430 round trip. That's the maximum. We're talking about going in one way and driving back with Andrew. So we'll be back on Sunday. Because he wants
How many going with?
just me and Randy.
So I'd say all, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to approve the special travel request. Guy to DC for the induction into the EMS.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Roberta.
Good morning. Good morning.
More.
It's just checking in to see how we're doing on some of the missing people work.
They are all upstairs and all of it out.
Okay,
You just gotta go up, sign the request paper,
okay. So,
ship you and get copies.
so we have the decommissioning bond, SB form for the EDA. Okay. And then next question is, so if we have all that, I'll go up and get it. There was one thing, and I don't know if you guys know this, but it looked like after the fact, there's a bunch of panels on the floodplain over in Nextera, and we didn't have the DNR permits for those on file.
Don,
Did anybody bring those up?
Go ahead, Dick.
do you mind if I respond to that?
No, go ahead.
In the state of Indiana, when you look at the floodplain, there's what's known as the flood fringe. The panels are installed in the flood fringe, which is allowable and it's with the state.
Okay.
None of the panels are installed in the actual floodplain.
And
Everything is within
It's in the fringe.
specification. Yes.
Okay,
It's-
and we
it's
have
what's
all of the
called flood fringe.
elevation certificates.
Yes.
And- Okay, because I didn't see them in there, so I should be able to get them.
Certain things just aren't required, to have, to that detail. The state is involved in permitting with some things, and
Right.
it's not required at the county level. I mean, our planning commission has, only a certain amount of time to spend on all the other things that they have to permit with. So for them to chase down and double check the state to see that the state's done all their things is busy work, and it just is out of the realm of the scope of them staying in their own lane. But what you're asking about is I went through it all. It's in the flood fringe, not the floodplain, and that's allowable in Starke County and in the state of Indiana.
Right, but we should still have the elevation certificates.
That's sound all right to you, Justin?
And Mary and I talked about this, I think, in touch base. I think there was only two parcels that may require an elevation certificate.
I'm not even sure they would require an elevation certificate because an elevation certificate, as I had explained to Roberta, is generally only given for any structure that has a base floor elevation that needs to be elevated. And usually those are habitable structures that people are gonna be in. And needless to say, solar panels not something somebody's gonna be living in, and square footage on them, we're talking the pole that's in the ground, which that's elevating the actual panel. So our square footage requirement, I don't believe is gonna even be met with those. So in my opinion, I don't think those would actually need an elevation certificate. I have, got with the DNR, I emailed them, so, I'm waiting to hear back from them on that, but
Don, sorry, I should have addressed that too, because I talked to the state and also both companies. And that is true. They're off of the plane of grade. So, you know, like if the average is like 3 feet, like it's way above it. So I mean, you know, so it exceeds that limitation actually, yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, and then I guess my next thing then is I still would like to talk a little bit about the battery storage. Since we didn't think we were getting it. And it's part of our original ordinance when I was here last time. I understand that the state has a battery storage requirement, but that's a very much a minimum requirement. So I'm still asking that we look to separate battery storage from our regular ordinance. I know that you had mentioned, Mark, that that can take about 3 months. So my ask would be that we look at a moratorium while we're doing that, or hold any new permits until we've revisited the ordinance and separated it. And also just something, you know, to make sure that, again, in the future, we're not missing some kind of checks and balance system to make sure that, you know, if we have everything that we need now, that's great, but why didn't we have it all where it should have been? Would be my question. Like, what did it take us to get this information? To get it all completed. I mean, it really, what it took was me coming here and then the news and everything else to get everything where we needed it. So, I mean, we didn't have the decommissioning bond on file, the ERA.
Before the last meeting.
I went and asked for it, yeah, and nobody could provide it for me.
I'm just saying, you're saying we had to bring news to get us to do something. I don't believe it. If you want to ask them that stuff, that's fine, I agree with it. But you didn't ask us.
I have though. I mean, I've asked the auditor, I have emails showing where back in December, I was asking for some of this information. And nobody
Well,
would
that's what I'm
provide
saying,
it.
you ask the other people, not the
Right.
commission. That's all
Right, I got you. I understand that. So I mean, I didn't come to you specifically and say, hey, Donnie, where is this?
Exactly,
Right, Mark, you know, Charles, where is this? But
exactly.
I guess my question still comes back to, you know, as a county, this is all public record, public information, and it all needs to be in the same place. So my question is, what are we doing moving forward to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row? I mean, if we have it all now, great, and I'll go upstairs. Who do I get that from? Planning
The
or?
auditor.
Auditor, okay. You know, if we have everything, that's what we wanted, right? We wanted to make sure that we were protected, but I also want to make sure moving forward, we're protected. So, you know, if we don't have the checks and balances in place, that's concerning for me. So, I mean, I think we do need to just pause again. You know, I'm gonna ask for a 6-month moratorium. Until we get the ordinances separated and we make sure that moving forward, we have some kind of check and balance in place to ensure that we're not missing paperwork where it's supposed to be.
Moratorium, you have to go to the planning commission, that's what.
You know, last time we did this, I was told, the planning commission told us it had to come from you guys. That you guys needed to do it because,
Yeah,
Well, you can't do it.
right, so I mean, if
We
you
can't do
guys
it,
can
you
do
say?
it. Yeah. That would be my ask, at least 3 months while we get that ordinance corrected, and that would give us the time that we need. To make sure that moving forward, as we get new solar projects, everything that we need is in place. And then we're protected.
I'm not against looking into that stuff and getting you the answer, but I'm not for moratorium. In my opinion.
Think there's been plenty of issues, you know, obviously it's been hard to get. I even asked for some stuff and I couldn't get it, so that's been, you know, on the back of my mind. You know, what's the deal? I mean, should be able just to, like, you know, just pull it up, just
Right.
quick, but. I guess with that, I'd like to make a motion that we do impose a 6-month moratorium.
I appreciate that, and I know a lot of other people do too.
Second,
No,
So are you willing to look into it? You mentioned that you're not willing today to
I'm
talk
not
about
going
it.
for a moratorium, but I will ask the planning commission to look into it. And get this rolling on your battery.
Okay,
I'm not against it.
Right, not against the battery storage separation.
Absolutely.
And then are we looking into how we're gonna make sure this doesn't happen again in the meantime, that we're not missing things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have something on that matter, once you've, finished your presentation to us.
Well, I will go upstairs, make sure that we have everything after all of the meetings, and once our person that's up there is back up there.
Hey, Don.
Yeah.
Before we stop this, could I just like, since, you know, I've been part of this with you guys.
Yep.
And I just want to make sure the media has the correct information too. It wasn't that things were missing. Maybe they weren't to your satisfaction, Mrs. Lee, but they were all there. Like maybe things had gotten signed here and the auditor just didn't have the copy that was the executed copy with the second signature, different things like that. But all of those items were executed and they were all in place. There was nothing that was left out. So I just want the media to have the correct record of that. Commissioners didn't fall down on their job or whatever else. Like, it's very difficult across the county. I could go to other departments and you're gonna find documents, maybe they don't have the second signature or whatever else. But they were executed in a public meeting, they were voted on or whatever the process was, they were done. So I just want to make sure that that's part of the record and it's read into this record and the media understands that everything that was accused of not being done was in fact done, it was done properly.
Absolutely, and that we're not hiding nothing. I mean, we're trying to work.
No, there's no intention of it, you
Right.
know, and I will say, because, you know, a lot of those documents, I had signed those and I hadn't gone back to make sure that the reciprocation, you know, had happened or whatever else, and, you know, we try to do that. I mean, there's a lot of documents out there, there's a lot going on, but we have several checks and balances besides ourselves, besides the auditor's office, our attorneys involved, the other parties are involved, and so you know, all of that was there, and, you know, and in the meantime too, that several times we've been available for questions, you know, I volunteered to be your liaison with the solar companies. I mean, I could have been asked those things and in advance, just like you weren't asked in advance, and, you know, getting the media involved and get us to move, that's completely not true. That's not how we operate. We're all very active,
Exactly.
spending a lot of time outside of our meeting times, you know, going to sites, meeting with these folks. We meet regularly with about the roads, you know, all these other things. Like there's a lot of activity going on for people that are all just working a part-time position. You know, I mean, it's pretty daunting sometimes. So, but it was all there. That's what I want the record to reflect.
Well, and I want the record to reflect that never did I say that it was not here. I said it appeared to not be here and that there was absolutely the possibility it was here somewhere. I said that.
I'm
You
just
can go and
clarifying,
look at
'cause you
anything
did
that I
say-
quoted. Well, go look, because what I did say multiple times was maybe we have it all and it's just not where it should be. But either way, the point is, it is public record and we shouldn't have to go track it down. So I just want to be clear that all of that
When you
should
say
have
we
been.
though, when you say we, like, you know, like you've taken the time to do this on your own.
The need to go track down records is why things like FOIA requests and that framework exists to begin with. Because there are instances, and this is one of those where things have to be collected and collated before they're disseminated.
Right, and I understand that, but again, I'm talking about almost a year ago for some of this stuff. I mean, the EDA agreement I asked about in December of 2023, and what I was told was, oh yeah, we don't have it. Basically, what was said was, we don't have it, we'll have to get with Mammoth to get it. I mean, so that's a problem, right? We don't have it. from Mammoth.
When this meeting is that said,
I didn't say it was in this meeting.
well, then you're coming out at us with third-party information. I mean, just because you chatted with someone in the halls.
No calls, this was our attorney.
Well, so procedurally speaking, this is for anybody that wants a document, no matter what it is. Fill out a public access request form. In fact, there's a company, I could probably cite their information. It's a fair bidding company that once a week submits a FOIA request for sheriff department information. That's what tricks. We have to know how to evaluate that. If it's just an oral request to the auditor under statute, that's not how things are provided. So I'll tell you how this one. And it annoys me, not from your standpoint, Mrs. Lee. It annoyed me from WSBT's part, because here's what happened. I get a call from Cicely Porter, the reporter, saying that's a text message, not even a call, with, and I think it was maybe an hour ahead of time, say, you know, my deadline for this is 2 o'clock. You have a statement. Okay. So I called her and I said, well, I'll give you a statement. I said, I'll follow up with you with the documents. I said, they're spread apart across multiple departments. And then a week ago, I sent an email with all those documents to WSBT and I said, I if you have the time, I'm happy to give you an interview if you want to explain these things. Nothing, not a retraction, not a follow-up, not anything, which makes us look delinquent. I understand red meat sells stories. Sure. So you can understand how I try not to take it personally. I know that Mrs. Lee is looking out for the best interest of the county, so it's not against her personally. But I take it exceptionally when I'm getting a call from a news reporter saying, this is my story, these are the interviews I got, you have a statement. And then I follow up with that within a couple days, mind you, all these documents that they said we were missing and nothing. That's why we have FOIA requests. Procedurally speaking, you submit a FOIA request because we get a lot of requests that we deny because quite frankly, they're about employee information. They're overbroad. They say, give me copies of all emails for the last 10 years. And I say, no, you need to be a little bit more tailored in your request. So to answer your question, Ms. Leaks, I don't know if anybody's ever answered this for you, so it might not be fair to you. There are public access request forms, and it will state, these are the documents you want, these are the timeframes that you want, and it allows me to hone in on whether or not we have those documents, whether or not they're privileged or not. So I don't know if that did or did not happen. If you submitted a public request form prior to now and nobody answered, that's a problem. But we need documentation submitted, and also for the State Board of Accounts and the DLGF, because that's how we continue to, they allow us to be funded. That when we get a request, that we respond to those forms. So procedurally speaking, if there's something that anybody wants and we can give it, please submit a public request form because it's hard for any of us. Like, and these were documents spread across 6 different departments. Documents I had to get from IDEM, from DLGF that we can't even be responsible for supplying, but I did just to show that we're being transparent. Like, if I don't know what needs to be supplied because somebody gave an oral statement or an oral request, I don't know what to supply. So anybody, it doesn't even matter if it's about solar or not, please submit a public request form so we can put it in writing, and it protects you too, because if we don't supply you that information, we can be reported, we can be taken to court over that. So, I mean, I think it protects both parties, but that's what I wish would have happened. Again, maybe Mrs. Lee, maybe she submitted that before. Maybe she didn't know that was the exact thing that needed to happen, but it protects us, it protects the person submitting the documents. And God, secondly, so much of this has become personal. I guess in my line of work, I have to separate personal and professional because I never at any one point felt any animus towards you, towards your husband, towards it. But I deleted Facebook probably 5 months ago because I was just tired of it. And it was directly tied to the vitriol that's happening amongst a lot of your citizens. At no point will I ever make things personal, but this felt personal, not because of you, not because of you. It felt personal and I don't know. It's just nasty. I think it's going in a direction that continues to be nasty. And I don't know. The time of cordial civil discourse, I think, is over, unfortunately. I think a lot because the bleed down what's happening at the federal level, and it's bled down to local municipalities and units of government. But I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm stepping outside the purview of what you hired me to do, but I want to say, because again, I don't take this, I try not to take this stuff personal, but when you make it personal, it's hard not to respond in kind. So, and again, I'm not talking about you.
No,
I think you guys have kept things.
We tried.
Yes,
We tried
I
to
think
keep, again,
you guys have kept things
and
very
to be
professional.
clear, even with the media, I had no idea until I woke up in the morning that there was gonna be something on WSBT. And at that point, just so you guys know, I called them to make sure that they understood that they misquoted in that first newscast. And that's how we ended up with them wanting to speak to me. And I felt fine doing that because I wanted to make sure that I set the record straight, which it did. And I can tell you, I have the entire interview because I made sure of it. And, at no point did I say you didn't have the documents. What I said was it appeared possible that we hoped that they were somewhere in the buildings. So just to be clear, that was not our intention. Never was it our intention for it to end up with the media. I do want to ask one question though, Dave. Can you help me understand why, when I asked for the decommissioning bond for NextEra, the response that you gave was that it wasn't required until the start of.
Let me explain it again, then, since you're asking, just so it's really clear. So you understand how bonds work, right? Like if you want to do a bond, like you have to sell the bonds. The bonds go through, it's almost like underwriting in an insurance policy. Okay. Right now, that you've looked at these, I think, you see that the decommissioning would cost about $3.5 million.
Decommissioning, 3.5? No. The
What do you-
decommissioning bond we got from Mammoth is $25 million.
Okay. Let me reword this in a different way.
Okay,
So right now, based on the way and we can dig in this a little more depth, and I'll look to Justin to help me with this, but to try to make it just simple for everybody to understand. Right now, the scrap value of the NextEra project exceeds what we're asking for in the bond. So you're looking at like, say, a $3.5 to $5 million bond. The problem is that the scrap metals, the aluminum, the rare metals, all the scrapping, the posts, all of that exceeds what we're asking for the bond. It's done by an engineering firm. Third-party engineering firm has looked at both of these. And so what will happen is in another 5 years, they'll sit down. The first question will be asked, they'll say, okay, Stark County, NextEra, are we both comfortable with sticking with the same engineering firm, or would you like to look to another firm? And then they'll have another firm evaluate that. Maybe it's going to exceed it. And at that point, it'll trigger an actual bond. That'll be, put into place. It might be more than that. We'll determine that at that time. That's why we have those 5-year time points. Justin, did I say that accurately?
Looking back to the email that I sent to the SBT a week ago that explains. So if we're talking about, so this, for example, was the NextEra project. There was a decommissioning memo and a decommissioning, the decommissioning memo that was part of an engineering report. So it concerned the value of parts existing on the property. So it takes into consideration, and these are documents that you'll see there, so you can kind of don't have to take my word for it. Takes into consideration the resale or the salvage value 5 years of the operation of the facility. So not the value today, what they're going to be worth 5 years of operation. Right now, the value of the parts provide the county a $3,282,997 buffer. So we're saying the salvage value 5 years into the project, they're actually more than what the decommissioning would cost. However, every 5 years, because again, this is up to, so when these are operational for 5 years, they have the responsibility contractually to do another assessment. So in 5 years, and that's why they do it 5 years out, so 5-year value of the salvage parts is every 5 years, the decommissioning plan agreement has to be updated. This ensures the next, in this case, NextEra, like I said, the ones that provided this particular document take into consideration the life expectancy and value of the panels and equipment over a period of years. And should those numbers become negative, then NextEra is legally obligated to pay into the restoration fund for any difference. So just to provide a little bit more concrete. Yeah, that's what that does. You're right there.
so I guess what I don't understand, and somebody's gonna have to explain it to me for sure. When I look at the ordinance, we have to have financial surety. It's in the ordinance, plain and simple. I'm reading it.
When you
right
say
now.
somebody has to explain it to you, I
Well,
don't understand
well,
what you mean exactly
well,
by
what I
that, but we
mean
just
is-
explained it to you.
Okay, except that we don't have financial surety. Instead, what we did was we said, hey, the salvage value is high enough, right? Okay, so let me finish. So I understand that. We are making an assumption that the salvage value is high enough to decommission this project should something go awry in the next 5 years.
We're not making the assumption, an
Well,
engineering.
engineering firm is
So
making that
it's not an
assumption.
assumption, it's actual
So-
concrete.
Change between Mammoth and NextEra, their permitting process that made Mammoth provide a $25 million surety bond. And NextEra didn't. I mean, they would have had the same salvage value. So what changed? Because nothing changed in the ordinance. So we required the surety bond in the ordinance for both of them. Yet we chose not to follow our own ordinance and instead come up with a salvage agreement. This seems like there should have been, in order to do that, then there should have been a variance to the ordinance in order to provide why we're okay with just having the salvage value and no bond.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is what do you see that's different or better or worse about either one? They both accomplish the same goal. I mean, you're not gonna get more, you're not gonna get more than what the value is for Mammoth. I mean,
Well, we don't even have, and again, maybe it'll be there, but in the decommissioning agreement. Again, the ordinance, there's supposed to be a full breakdown, and I can read it to you. And again, maybe
That's
it'll
not
be in the
necessary.
documents. But there's supposed to be a full breakdown of all the costs associated with decommissioning. We have that for Mammoth. We didn't have it. We didn't when I looked and asked for it. The decommissioning agreement that I was able to locate for NextEra doesn't give any of that financial breakdown. It doesn't give it to us. It's not in there. It doesn't do all of the things that the ordinance required for the decommissioning, right? And again, I'll look through it in all fairness. I want to be fair. I'll go up after all of the meetings today. I'll get all the paperwork and look at it. But I mean, that, you know, and to say that it's not required until O&M, which I'm assuming what you meant was operations and maintenance. Well, it's not gonna take 5 years for operations and maintenance. I'm just very confused by the email chain where it's, oh, well, we don't need a bond until operations and maintenance. But that's not even what we're now saying. Now what we're saying is, well, we don't need a bond because we have the salvage agreement. So which one was it?
You know what,
And
without
that's
having all those
right.
emails in front of me, I thought
So-
if I remember our discussion about O&M, it was about when do we start actually making. You know, making money and, you know, actually holding them to the.
Yeah.
the line.
Yeah, no, it was for the bond. So I can show it to you, Dave. I'll share that with you.
At this point,
You would go
But,
forward.
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I'll go through everything and, you know, like I said, I'll just, you know, again, I do appreciate you guys taking a look at all of it. You know. If you can talk to the planning commission, I do believe that, you know, it would at least be beneficial for us to have a separate battery storage ordinance. I guess we'll go
I'll
from there.
take one question, that's because it's your husband. Darren? You had your hand up a minute ago.
Well, I just wanted to point out that, and Dave alluded to it. It seems like people keep referring back to the planning commission a lot. And while they're only one part of a very complicated process. And the fact that documents went from point A to point B ended up, you know, as county record and incomplete. May not necessarily be the fault of the planning commission when they go through dozens of people's hands in between.
Right.
And it's that communication between all of those different departments. That we would like to see the interaction between those departments where one department is checking the next one and is checking the next one to make sure that when those documents move forward, they are the documents that they're supposed to be. It's entirely possible the planning commission did everything 100% right. And it was somebody later on that they've got 18 things to file before the end of the day. And, oh, I don't know where I put this or that. And so they just pull a copy and put it in county record. But that's not actually the copy that was supposed to be recorded, you know? So it's that interaction between all the different moving parts that I feel needs.
Appreciate it.
Just legally, I mean. I'm sure if we look through every record in every county right now, there's gonna be some that are missing dates or signatures or things like that. I mean, is there some statute that says that everything has to be reviewed and, you know, like the one that is committed to record? I mean, even if you look at legal deeds, sometimes
It's hard to make a blanket statement without knowing exactly what we're referring to. It depends on. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice, you know, to their point to have any corporate entity that I represent, larger corporate entity always has somebody that's responsible for gathering things after formal signature. It would be nice, I guess, you know, I know people here way down for a lot of it because it is just in response to their. If we appointed a point person to say, hey, let's final documents, even if it's me, even if it is me, if it's me that's responsible for gathering everything after final document, that we have somebody that does that. But I mean, that is why they gave you 7 days to leave their public records request, because unfortunately, government, not talking about local government, but it's inefficient at state and federal levels. So, you know, it takes time to gather documents. So I give you 7 days to respond. So sometimes you do have to track down documents, but even if you appoint me to be the person that gathers those documents after full signature, it would be nice to have a point person. So
So I have a question or a follow-up for that, Don. The reason why I asked that is I'm going back to what Justin said earlier. Like. The reason why I brought that up earlier too is I felt like WSBG tried to make it look like, you know, we're a small town, we know what we're doing. We have some smart people that are part of our boards, and I still feel like we do a great job. I've been complimented by other counties about how good the planning commission, what a good job they did on those ordinances, what a good job we did on our EDA. So, but. I felt like some of this document sharing, and I don't know if Rachel's back in here or not, but you know, some of it was more, I felt like at a casual level. You know, even, you know, from my perspective as the liaison, just trying to satisfy people and share things that I had. Because I was involved in most, if not all of that. But I think maybe the reason why I asked that, Justin, is the way to remedy this is to always require from here forward an official request for documentation and never share anything casual anymore. Which in the past, I felt like it was okay for us to do that kind of thing. And we were just trying to help people out because you have your, I'm assuming are you just representing yourself or you're representing a group like that? We never even asked that. Like, who are you asking all these things for when you say we and all those kind of things? But regardless of that, I think if we just make a policy from here forward that says we will not disseminate any more official documents unless it comes through an official request. You know, it's sad that we have to do that, but if we're gonna go through and be nitpicked,
And just to piggyback off that a bit, I mean, there are other areas where, I mean, if you make just an ask for, you know, either something out of the recorder's office or the planning commission, usually, typically, there's fees associated with, you know, per page
Yes.
copies.
yes.
You know, if we're going to, that's an area where I see potentially some trouble if we're charging some people for copies and we're not charging other people for copies. If that factors into this, you know, and if we have to go through, you know, the FOIA request process to make sure things are done properly, that's something we probably need to adhere to.
Is there a difference between a FOIA and formal request? Because those are two different. FOIA is a much deeper.
FOIA refers to the federal act.
Right.
Public records request is what they say at the state level. You know, this we get, I've got a bet anywhere from 2 to 5 a week that the
Yeah.
departments send me.
Right.
Not through the sheriff's department, but yeah, it's just federal level, people get them interchangeably.
And just to be clear, I did pay for everything I was told I needed to pay for.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Just to
I
be
was-
clear, so.
I wasn't assuming otherwise,
Thank
but
you.
Before I go any farther, Stan, we need to, this piece here put on and take down.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, basically, measure approved.
so did you guys get the email from Ginny about the proposal she wants to do about the compliance work? Specifically for.
Oh, yeah, I did get the
You
email.
know, I was thinking about engaging with Barnes and Thornburg, because I speak with them monthly anyway, through the ICC. But since they were the ones that kind of were the genesis of what Jasper County passed and what we adopted from a Norton's perspective, maybe engaging with them, but they tend to be pricey. And when I saw this proposal from VS, I thought, well, maybe that's a better option. I don't know if that was something you were willing to entertain, just to make sure we've got all our ducks in a row moving forward, since we're going to get the last project submitted here from Hoosier, I expect relatively soon. We want to engage with them and see what they have to offer and what it might cost us.
Yeah, they maybe check in and see what it costs.
Okay.
Okay, right.
Right.
Rachel.
What is going on at Coons Lake?
Oh,
Well, that's what this is, isn't it?
oh, yeah.
Well, she's had a week to dive into things, so.
My plan is to overload you with paperwork.
See,
Yeah, exactly.
we had all those trees go down in the storms and she put them to good use.
I think that's it.
Okay,
Where you start?
can I go now?
Sure.
Okay. We have been busy making pug for our paving operations, which will begin next week. I know it says this week, but it's next week. Due to the storms and some other stuff that we had to go on. So far, we have received 5 loads of oil and have made 800 tons of pug. We will begin paving next week with Boa Shores and the Stark County Parks entrance, both entrances to the campground and the beach side. These are low-key areas, and since this will be our first time using the paver during my time as superintendent, I want to take it slow, at least for the first day, and work out all the kinks in the paver and the operation itself. Depending on Mother Nature, we will be paving and making asphalt over the next few months. I realize we are behind in operations, but the equipment we are working with is just worn out. The auction was a success for Stark County Highway Department. We had collected a little over $60,000 in the equipment we sold that we can no longer use. This money will go toward the 1176 MVH account, which will help the negative cash balance it's been carrying for a while. On Tuesday and Wednesday this past week, we had the aftermath of the most recent hurricane. We had 27 tree calls from dispatch and the public entity. All of those trees were removed from the roadway before we ended our operations for the day. And we still have brush cleanup to complete, of course. We have been gathering roofing quotes for the salt shed, as the roof has several holes in it, and I received the following. Rick Ben presented 2 quotes, one for 21,400, which is the higher grade shingles, and one for 18,850, the lower grade shingles. That's just replacing the roof on the salt shed, on the current salt shed. Keener, yeah. Keener Construction quoted 46,185. I did, that quote is a little older, and I did ask him for another one, but I didn't get one yet. And then Greystone Construction presented 2 Sourcewell quotes for actually doing the dome building. One quote was 108,890 for the dome and the concrete work, and then the other one is 46,760, and that's just for the dome itself, but we would be responsible for all the concrete work, the concrete wall and pad work.
Good valve.
Yeah. So in my time being out there, although dome would be nice too, but I would rather have the shingles replaced and then possibly use the money that was allotted in ARPA to go.
Oh, no. Oh, that smile, it's already got a home. Already anticipating this.
And then possibly use the money we saved from not building entirely new building toward the purchase of a new piece of equipment that we need, which there's several things that we're in dire need of. I mean, it's getting dangerous to even operate some equipment.
No, don't say that.
So, do you want to discuss the roof stuff first before we move on?
I kind of agree with you to do the higher grade shingle just because we need to get the money saved out there. You don't use the money that way. The dome would be awesome, but that's a lot of money to put out.
But the wind's been so bad too.
Yeah,
Better off to go with the better shingle.
right, because the dome's gonna take us a lot more money.
So I already have approval from everyone for up to $100,000, so I just need approval from you guys as far as which way to go.
And you get to keep the rest, or your highway get to keep the rest.
Could you make that in your motion, please?
I'll make the motion to move forward with the $21,400 for shingle replacement on the salt shed roof.
I'll second, on favor, aye.
Thank you. So I have found that there are 2 roadways so far that we are maintaining and have been maintaining, but we're not on the NDOT inventory. So I would like to add 1,135 feet of Forest Avenue in Coons Lake, as well as 800 feet on 880 East, north of 150 South.
Why aren't we doing
So you'll find those every now and then. There'll be a road that really isn't a road and we're being paid for it. And then there'll be a road that we're maintaining and we're not being paid for it. It's just, you just kind of come upon them as you're doing your work and researching different things.
Make a motion to add the aforementioned road footage to the county inventory.
Second, I'll second, on favor, aye. Thank you.
Sarah. For the minutes, can you write out the footage and as presented in the report, because NDOT needs it spelled out in the minutes. please. Okay, everything with community crossing grants are on schedule, don't really have to go through all that. Bridges. Work has begun this week in preparing bridge number 137 on 300 East between 50 North and the Knox Industrial Park for new construction spring of 2025. NIPSRO crews are actually right now relocating one of their main gas lines. There was flaggers on site on July 3rd to clear a bore path. And then they're gonna have that lane closure with traffic signals up beginning Monday, July 8th for the remainder of July, maybe the first week of August as well. Letting will begin early winter months this year, probably November, December-ish. And then the new construction will begin spring of 2025. On other news. On October 18th, 2023, the council had approved approximately $427,000 of ARPA money to go towards the highway department invoices that have been overdue for some time. I have now had some time to research this further and discovered that, listen, Dave.
This better be good.
195,549.75 of the central paving invoices that were included in that 427,000 should have been paid from grant fund number 9192 CCMG 2023-02. The chip seal program, I have already turned in a claim to pay back ARPA fund by that 195,549.75.
Excellent. Thank you for that. We have a home for that.
Yeah, it's gonna go into my equipment. We have been speaking to State Representative Jim Pressel about the future of road funding. He has graciously agreed to meet with us as well as several surrounding counties. We will be meeting with him, Jasper, Marshall, Newton in August. We are still trying to get Pulaski County on board. We should be meeting with him at our location. I will let you know upcoming details. So you want to hear a fun fact though? Jasper.
Sure.
So anyways, even if you said no.
Yeah.
Jasper, LaPorte, Newton, and Starke, all female superintendents. We have been speaking with the Starke Circuit Court Community Services. Starke Circuit Court Services and their community corrections program about getting community service workers. They will be picking up trash all around Starke County, as this has been a major problem throughout the year. We will have one part-time employee be in charge of maintaining that crew, and they did start today. So I got two were supposed to show up today. One showed up, or at least one showed up. I am in the process of obtaining quotes on a pug mill machine and a boom truck. The pug mill was purchased many years ago. I think it was around 2011. It was purchased used and has been piecemealed together so much that there is no rhyme or reason to the entire system anymore. And there really isn't. We've been able to limp by so far this year, but I will not be able to do this again next year. I really won't. If we want to continue to make our own asphalt, then we need a new plug mill machine. And I've been checking around on prices like with that. It's crazy. It's like $350,000. I thought it was going to be in the $200,000 range, but I've been getting about $300,000 to $350,000. So
What is the availability of used equipment of the quality of what our plug mill was when we acquired it back to
I've been looking
14, 15 years ago?
I've been looking for used plug mill machines too. And I
Are
just
those
can't find any right now.
not really many options on the market?
So
Like
the
that stuff clicks them rolls
Yeah.
and stuff, it's not, I don't think. it's good.
So we lucked out getting something workable used
so
a decade and a half ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have the option to where we could like pay Central Paving to come up here and make our pug. So for $300,000, that would cover about 13 years through Central Paving. But if you put the money into a new plug mill machine, that's probably gonna last you at least 30 years, 20, 25 years is what we've had ours. It was used before.
Of course,
Ours,
you have to pay the material on top of that.
I say go ahead and check into it and maybe talk to the council, see if they give some of that money back.
oh, well,
Since you mentioned it, Don, we may have to take some of the lock money however we decide to fix the lots for the jail, but otherwise I'm not. opposed to it.
You hear that?
So, but there's some. I don't think so. Dave, there's some good news. There's some good news.
Okay.
I did contact the State Board of Accounts, and the majority of the cost of a new pug mill machine can be paid out of 1173 restricted.
Oh.
Which is where I have that $2.1 million built up in. Not all of it, because you're also using patch, so you have to, like,
Yeah.
1/4 of that has to come from somewhere else, and 3/4 can come from
That would help.
1173. Yeah, that will help.
The other thing was I saw a used one a while back for 175.
Did you call me? No,
I didn't know we were looking. I think I showed it to Brock, but I'll look for it.
okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. If you you guys ever see used ones, like, send them my way. No, I lost track. Okay, now on to the,
Some good news, you said.
yeah, I can help pay for it out of
Oh,
1173.
okay, I thought you meant other.
So maybe we can go on 50-50. Okay, now onto the boom truck. Our boom truck is a 1992 International, and it is a cable setup. I could write a full page about everything that is wrong with this piece of equipment, but please come out to see it for yourself. But the bottom line is, it's not safe anymore. We need a new, it doesn't have to be new, used, whatever.
But it passed
Is this the
certification.
truck that I saw out front of this building not too long? Yeah. I am in full agreement, having seen that piece of machinery in operation.
You should go find me all
Yeah.
kinds of engineering.
So we are currently looking for one. Right now I'm seeing about between $85,000 and $100,000. Our current boom is able to, or our current boom truck, we can reach 60 feet, but it's only gone to 45 feet for like 10 years. And we're at the point where it's unable to be fixed, but 27 trees last week, 2 weeks before that, 35 trees. Mother Nature's killing me. I need this equipment and this. Sorry. Sorry. So I'm gonna I'll get quotes around and present to you guys what I find.
All four of the building trucks, but not be nothing to bug, it'll be the paper.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I'm just gathering numbers. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I think I'm done. Anything else?
Good. Like you got minutes, right? Well, your papers out.
No.
Hey, Don. You know, a while back, I brought up something, it's been quite a while, but about the trees, because as a firefighter too, like, just all these calls, and now, like, if you look at the news, you see where people have a tree fall on their cars. We have a lot of old oak and other hardwoods that are right on the road that are just old and they're big. And, you know, they're eaten up with bugs and things like that. I'll get murdered for saying this, but that's fine, because I'm like Justin, I stay away from these gossip sites anymore, because they're just absolutely mostly inaccurate. But in that discussion, I had mentioned before that I think maybe starting next year, something to look at, one of the things for solar money to benefit the masses is do an assessment of our roads, especially where it's more populated. If one falls in the middle of farmland, we want to get that moved too, so the farmers can do their business. But as far as the risk of traveling, I think it's a valuable thing maybe to look to take some of that money and look to a commercial company to help mitigate some of that. And at least just, you know, we're gonna have to pay somebody to go around. Our highway department drives the road. They already know which ones are suspect. I mean, a lot of property owners know that. But I think collectively, we can all put our heads together and maybe look at the road safety plan that is in excess of what we're able to do with current highway department means. And I think that might be one thing, just throwing that out there, you know, down the road to look to solar money for looking at, you know, working on that.
You had one to roll with them, or something like that, caution.
And look to see if there's any opportunities for collaboration with the utility companies in the tree work that they do to keep their lines clear.
Good idea.
Okay. Yep. That it?
Thank you. Mary.
Hi. All right. So you guys have in front of you the new flood damage prevention ordinance that was updated by the state. We did make some, significant changes in it. Um, um, This is the letter from the DNR, basically, telling us that, we need to update our ordinance, and this is their proposed model that they gave us. This got approved at the last planning commission meeting on July 10th. So it needs approval from the commissioners now.
I didn't get for the one, but I mean. It's basically.
The most significant changes in it are gonna be about freshwater lakes. Well, this doesn't have the rules on any of that. That's gonna be follow-up ordinance that they're gonna have to develop and put in place.
This is
This
just,
is stating that a permit will have to be taken though for those at the local level.
so this is just an approval of the draft that we sent on to.
No,
DNR, because that's what's in bold in this letter here.
this
Submit a
is,
draft floodplain ordinance
Right.
for review and comment by August 9th.
Yeah.
So this is the draft,
right,
okay,
and all the highlighted sections in it, those are the changes that were made to it.
and these are the changes that are demanded by. The change
Basically,
necessary to comply with that, the flood insurance program.
right, so, if we don't approve this, then it takes us out of the National Flood Insurance Program. Which, they base those rates for insurance off of FEMA maps for the floodplain.
Justin, I assume you've gone through this thoroughly?
It's a baseline ordinance for every municipality in our area.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any opportunity for. EPA to overreach in its definition of navigable waters, so. That's usually the only thing that concerns me when we start playing around with floodplains is. That particular agency making things harder for folks to get work, with the work they need to get done. But if that, yeah, I think we're good.
Big change.
I wanna say it's like a page, maybe, you know. That's the area where you're gonna have the freshwater lake changes, those were the biggest changes that were added.
Motion. Backwards. Sorry. Motion for. Make a motion that we approve the flood damage prevention ordinance.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, enough goofy. Charlie's name is on this, but the line from the sign is here. There a way to lock the wheels on you?
Right. I keep moving that way, but I won't be third again.
Well,
Next time, we're gonna put markers.
Stanley's gonna fix it right after I mean.
I'll be doing the same thing when I get through there.
yeah.
Any motion to accept payroll claims of 332, 447, 58.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Any motion to accept the payroll claim or the claims, commissioner's claims for 257, 717, 865.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
All right.
The motion to accept the minutes for the meeting of July 1st, 24.
Second.
In favor?
All right.
From the council side,
Yeah.
see,
And
charge different, structure different, whatever else, maybe get a quote from the highway department too, to do the mowing, once again.
no, actually,
Yeah,
it's something, but,
Private entity. even.
that's where I was gonna go, because right now, all I see in front of me is a job description. I don't know how much more this is gonna cost. If it would cost more or less than hiring a firm, there are several that do this kind, at least part of this work. And then we
I'm in a
can,
unique
then we
situation
can
where I
find-
have mowed it myself a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
And it takes hours, it takes 8 hours to do the mowing
right,
with just light trimming. On the trimming on top of it's probably another 2 hours, I would say. So probably 10 hours. So I will say it's probably gonna be twice as much to hire a firm to do it, but it's not out of the realm of,
yeah,
I think for this year,
yeah,
Yeah.
well, and with what's included here, this is beyond the scope of what I would be comfortable asking a volunteer to do regardless.
exactly.
But,
now it has changed. I don't know if you recall this, but the people take care of their own areas. But they do their own mowing and trimming now too. So that's helped a lot, because even,
Don't think they have to, they do it on their own, which helps.
actually, we changed the contract where they do
Okay.
have to do it, actually.
Okay.
And that helped. I should say, I should say, not we, I'm getting out of my lane. The park board
Right,
changed that. So that has helped too, but the big amount of time is just taking that, I guess it's zero turn more, the public areas that are just big
Yeah.
and bulky. The grass is pretty thick, so
Yeah.
the speed is not as,
mhm,
Right now it's underwater.
right.
Yeah.
in great.
I think we need it this year, or if not, all of us on these boards need to go take turns.
Well,
I mean, they got no other choice this year,
right,
and I absolutely, like you say, it should
Yeah.
take care of its own.
yeah,
And
and you and I
hopefully
have
if
been
not,
going out there volunteering to help with stuff
If
too.
it don't cover that, then they need to do, like, say, charge more or something where they cover itself.
Yeah.
So we're not asking the council.
And I didn't look at their budget to see what's left with maintenance, and there may be enough there, because the maintenance this year is less, because my intent too is to look at their budget a little differently.
Right,
Because a lot of those are just like inflated to get started, and now like a lot of the capital things, I want them to start coming to the commissioners more, like they have a board, obviously, but I think
Right.
the commissioners still should be more involved in capital purchases above a certain amount.
Right.
So we can rethink some of that, but right now there was some.
Well,
about the
yeah, I mean,
maintenance.
we're looking to take advantage of, because there, when you say increases, we did increase the camping fees last year or so.
mhm.
And we are looking at,
Yeah.
we look every year at the river slip fees as well.
Right.
So
Well,
that's in there.
like they said, it's gotta fund itself, tax.
Well, no, what we're looking to do this year is take advantage of the increased fees that we're generating ourselves and put those in the areas of our budget,
Right,
maintenance and equipment, to try to take advantage of those increased funds
Yeah.
that we've generated on our own.
And it may cover, like I said, I haven't looked at it that closely yet, but that's the goal, is to make sure it's at least that. We've also kicked around the things about adding meters. That's gonna
Yeah.
cost some capital from the county, but I think
Right.
that's gonna be a big benefit.
Right, and
Because that comes on.
that issue was brought up by the board years ago. I mean, we were looking at that as well. We just haven't had capital funds to do it.
No,
I mean, everyone wants to be
Yeah.
able to do a meter, but we don't have the capital fund. We have enough money to operate.
Right.
That's about it.
in our last council meeting, Todd Linebaugh made the comment that people can leave their air conditioning
Yep.
on while they're gone, well, if they want to do. that, then they'll pay
it was
for it in the
lights this
future.
weekend,
The lights.
the whole weekend.
There you go, yeah.
Your name's been invoked, Todd.
Oh, hey, Todd, just giving him credit for
I
that.
just want to make the record clear that the park board has been talking about this. This is not a new subject for us, and it's
Yeah.
something that we've been looking at. We just don't have the funds to
Right.
individually meter. We just
Yeah.
don't have it.
That's
Yeah,
gonna be a
and that's-
capital upgrade.
And that's, yeah, and that'll be something we work on. I'm
We
sure the
talked
park
about
board
that, Tom.
further develop that.
We
and make
talked about you guys not having the money for that, but we still would like to see it happen.
We were too.
So are you suggesting, Mark, that they go and look right now just to see, have somebody cut it, and in the meantime, like, let the council talk about this too?
Yeah, because, well, I don't want any, your council members coming back at us, throwing we have a hiring freeze in place.
Yeah.
If we move forward on this today, I think, yeah, we need to evaluate the expected cost of hiring on a part-time maintenance person versus contracting out the services.
Even if we have
Before
somebody
we
cut it
make
one
a
time,
firm
we can see how
decision.
much they're gonna charge.
Well, we could for sure look at contracting this out. We could try to get some bids for that as well, but.
Yeah.
And that might be actually quicker in hiring.
Have them do it once even, just to see, do they do a good job? What does it end up costing altogether if they're charging by the hour?
I think that's something the park board would consider. I can't speak for the whole board, but.
Right. But yeah, before, I would just like to know, the cost comparison before we make a commitment on which direction to move forward in.
Can I quickly bring something else up about the park? So, Don, you're aware because I let you know, but there's been issues with the pumps. It turns out that it actually might be an installation issue going on too, but we've had to send the motors out to get repaired. That lift the water and move the water out, the clear water. So we're back to paying DSNS. I had mentioned, I wish there was a way that we could work with one of these companies when we have to do it, since it's clear water and not like stop like waste, like black water.
Exactly.
Can we get a discount on that, you know, or talk to somebody else that has a pump truck that they're willing to haul gray water and storm water instead. But there's been this ongoing issue with the conservancy, and so. That between the conservancy and the county, we need to have a discussion. So I talked to Jack Campagnan that last week. He called me and said, hey, this is what's going on. And so we know that some of the tiles that connect the manholes to the system, that they're broken, and so they take on groundwater. So there is a factor there where we need to get a quote and just see what it's gonna cost to fix that once and for all and get it done. Now, there's still another problem with that, and I was trying to explain other people that are involved with the park is that there's still water there. So whether that's broke or not, whether it comes in the manhole or comes in the pipe, there's still standing water there. So one of the things that I'd like to do with your blessing is to reach out to Tom Schouten and look at that area, because maybe there's a way to dry that property out. It might affect adjacent property owners, but I think we need to look at that, number one, just to see from that level. The other thing is that, I want our relationship with the Conservancy to be good also.
Right.
So the other night, when I got back into town, I went all the way around Bass Lake, went properties one layer deep, and just took a look. There's standing water everywhere out there. It's not just our property.
Right.
So I feel for him, about his issue with us putting so much clear water into their system, but everybody else is too.
Right.
So sometimes when we have a fluke storm, when there's a hurricane, that's hard to avoid that. But I also don't want to tarnish that relationship. So what I asked Jack, and I assume this would be you, Don, and I think I actually sent you a text or an email about it, was about getting together with Jack and then look it through with Jack, but also have a chance, if it's available, to talk to the Conservancy District also, just to say, hey, the county's on it, we want to mitigate things too.
Right.
But also I think there needs to be a little bit of meeting halfway when there are things like this that are Mother Nature, it's out of our control too.
Yeah, several of the park board members were out there yesterday and met with Jack and actually looked at the pumps and saw the pumps, and they tried to start them up and they were obviously burnt out, and there's some issues with.
And those, yeah.
And he did mention this proposal about maybe mitigating.
Fixing those things,
Right.
but the lifespan of those pumps has not been good either. Those pumps are designed to run nonstop. That's what they do. So the fact that they're burning up.
In a year.
Yeah, I was afraid that they're red motors or something. They're actually Homo motors, but it turns out from what the board found out yesterday is there could be an installation issue. That they need to be installed differently so they don't have so much of a load overheating them like.
Well,
that.
and the one pump that was just installed last week burned up, but it's the ones that chew. It's not just a sewage pump, and those aren't designed to run full time, and that's what's been happening.
No, yeah, macerator pumps
Right.
shouldn't be running constantly, no.
And that's what happened with this, all the groundwater and all the rain repairs.
So try to get going to see if we can, more of a long-term plan for that too, but also talk to Tom. Because the one thing I noticed is the water behind the property still holds it's a swamp in those trees.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's possible to clear some of that out, put a Presby in there, or put a mount, I don't know, some kind of a tile somewhere, a retention pond.
Yep.
I don't know, I'm not a surveyor, but it's time to look at that piece of property and see how to dry it up.
You gonna be able to talk to Tom today?
Yeah,
So Tom, we're gonna table the job description today. To our next meeting, if you'll talk to the rest of your board and call, other places, see what's thinking.
Yeah, I just,
Right.
like I said, I just want to do a cost comparison between those two options, whether it be hiring someone
Understood.
or being
Yeah,
contracted
that's
out.
actually just a job description. It's not, it doesn't say how many hours.
Right. Yeah,
We'll do that.
okay.
see if I can come out and help you too, somebody won't.
And the maybe not being on the right side of things.
Do you, the motion?
I'll make the motion to, grant this FMLA, extension request.
Second, all in favor?
All right. There's an LEPC meeting this afternoon I can't make, so, and I don't remember which one of you guys was my proxy, but if you could make that in place of me this afternoon. I appreciate it.
Was it more?
1 o'clock right here. Yeah, so. Assuming your budget workshop doesn't.
Well, we're gonna break for lunch because some people wanted to have a break. If it went over, I feel pretty confident we can move things along, but if not, you know.
I have another meeting I have to get to this afternoon, so I can't make that.
No, I don't have any.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what is this?
You have anything?
Oh, no.
Sarah? Rachel, I got 2 requests this weekend, and I don't see them here. I was at the Bass Lake Association.
There,
Yeah, but the ladies that asked me about the, bumpers, the speed bumps.
Oh, they're back there.
Oh, okay, sorry. Go ahead and finish and I'll let you talk. I didn't see you back there.
Do I come up there? This is my first meeting.
You can do either one.
Hi, my name is Sue Horbach. I live out at Bass Lake. We have a real problem with speeding. So my question, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
This,
Here,
this lady here is Rachel, the superintendent of the county garage.
they're trying to the woman in charge. So my question, okay, my question was, on Amazon, of course, they sell those rubber stripping. Would I be able to put that on the street on the weekends when my grandkids, I tried the barricade fence. I yell at people. I asked the police to come and they're shorthanded. It's removable. And it would deter people from speeding. I mean, it's 50 miles an hour, excuse me. They're going.
Like I mentioned to you Saturday at the meeting, Rachel's in charge of the county garage. She's in charge of all the roads. If you bought something like that, it would become her property.
Okay,
And she would put it on and take it off there.
okay.
Like maybe through the summer and then take it off in the winter.
Would that be possible?
if the particular product you're.
I have a picture.
Mentioning, well, I'll leave it to
Okay.
Rachel to ensure that those meet all the regulatory standards. For a speed bump, I mean, that sounds like more of a thing you put in your. I don't know that, I don't know what it is,
Okay,
but so I don't know if it meet, the highway safety standards we
Correct.
have to adhere to.
and they are removable.
Yeah,
They got 5 stars on Amazon. If
that means absolutely nothing in the age of
I-
bot reviews.
Sure, sure.
My
I
opinion,
guess my question would be for Justin, so let's hypothetically say that they didn't purchase this asset. How does that become our asset?
Who's the agreement gonna be with? Who's gonna buy it? No, I mean, who's gonna buy it?
I was going to purchase it.
Use a private individual or you
Yes.
represent the?
No, as a private.
If you're gonna donate, if you can provide you, a donation affirmation, I'd just be worried about signage, was the big thing.
Yeah.
I don't think to and from the speed bump.
my biggest thing is I don't want people going around like just only think that.
Honestly,
No.
how many are gonna be
So I
out there?
think,
Yeah.
How many are gonna be out there?
that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're willing to buy them, I mean, we can't put them every day.
I don't, well, I'm,
saying I don't want them to own it. I would prefer you to donate it to the county.
Absolutely.
Still the county road.
Sure.
well, no, and that's one thing we absolutely cannot allow is.
Hey, listen up.
One thing we absolutely cannot allow is for private individuals to be putting. Any sort of structures or modifying our roads in any way, because
That's what I'm
that's,
saying.
that's our responsibility, that's,
Liability.
Yeah.
What is the posted speed limit in this area?
20.
It's,
20.
that's the part that's 20. And you're saying,
It's they go
You
50.
feel that they.
We had the police sign 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and it was easy, you know, the lights would flash 50 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour. And even when there's little kids, I live right next door to a
Mhm.
harbor house, so when that was active. People don't care, I mean, we had a dog get hit by a car. I just need a deterrent and I don't know what to do, that's why I'm here, I guess,
Todd?
for ideas.
I was just gonna say, I know there's a procedure to go through for that. First of all that would have to meet the Indiana Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which is a federal document. And you just can't haphazardly put speed bumps on public road.
Right.
I
That's what I'm saying.
understand, I guess I'm just here for
LTAP, Rachel, and I know there's a procedure
ideas.
for it.
So I would suggest get up with Ray,
Okay.
change numbers or whatever, you guys work on it.
Okay.
You or her can bring it.
Well, thank you for your time,
Yep, no
I
problem.
appreciate it.
And one more thing, Rachel.
Yeah.
The road from 700 goes around that old church up to the pub restaurant. What I saw.
From 700.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's your-
okay.
you're at the pub, and you go straight off that curve. Used to be the pole
Oh, yeah,
campground.
yeah.
They would like a couple speed limit signs out there somewhere.
Is it, and then this is just that little easement that goes to the lake?
Between 700 going up 400 turns into 675 to Woodshed Tap, actually. That's like huge speed, because it's a
Right there
shortcut
at
to the lake.
Right there at the pub, they got a speed limit sign. But it's right at the, as soon as you get on the road, they're just asking if you could have a couple on, even by the curb or whatever.
Well, there's a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, which is not a legal speed limit for a public
No,
road.
definitely.
It has to be held at about it, but.
Unless you have an ordinance, and we don't have an
You
ordinance.
can't- I don't think you even have an ordinance for it.
No, well,
Well, they have those at the beach, but they're yellow, so they're not legal signs, right?
no, they're warning signs.
So you check in.
That road isn't a beach
Yeah,
road. though.
I'm still confused with Chris had, but.
I'll tell you, I
Okay.
think. Jack, you got anything? Stanley? Frank?
We're interested in the Facebook thing.
Oh, I just, I was gonna talk to the employees, because they know they're not supposed to be using on Facebook on company time.
But
So
it's blocked,
we shut it off.
we
I
use
figured.
that.
Okay, if you use it, talk to Stanley.
Yeah.
Cause there is a couple departments I've
And
left
that's it,
on.
there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Collecting information, anything like that. it's-
And if you would have called me the other day, I'd have picked.
No, I
it
got you.
up.
I didn't realize it was off. I don't use it. Like I said,
Talk to Stanley and he can fix you up.
we got home-based vendors, we got septic issues, that kind of stuff.
Right,
It's posted on there and so.
Yeah, it'll, there are certain departments that still use that as the primary means to get information out, which is cost effective, I guess.
You got anything?
No,
April,
but I'm probably gonna be to you with quotes, hopefully by next meeting for my building.
and the freezer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, the freezer is kind of, it's, it's a cart and horse thing. I mean, kind of depending on what I
That's
spend.
right,
I have
right.
quotes for the freezer, but I know how much I have in my budget for the building and the freezer, so.
you might bring it both up.
Oh,
The
don't worry.
addition not gonna do you no good without the new freezer.
Yeah, no, I'm bringing everything.
I don't know everybody else's name in here. Anybody have anything from the public? Go ahead.
I need to come with that.
It's up to you. You can just move that chair and talk, right?
Well, I've got a loud voice, so you can hear me.
Okay,
I live in, on County Road, South County Road 210. At Bass Lake, on the west end of the lake, so I have one of those lots that. My house is on one side of the road, I also have property on the other side of the road, which I call the lakeside.
Mhm.
And like a lot of the folks that have lakeside properties, I have a little. Concrete patio there for a table, there's other neighbors that have concrete patios, some have sheds depending on the size of their lakeside lot. But I notice now that somebody's just put in a parking spot, 2 parking spots on the lakeside. And they're parking trucks on the lakeside. And that particular part of the lake is not that deep. And there's a tendency for those trucks to kind of overhang the lake a bit. I've never seen that before where people have put parking spots on the lakes. I've seen it on different occasions when, people have a lot of people over. they'll park a car or two there, but that's like a daily thing and it's gone. But these trucks are there every day, and ironically, going down there the other day with my wife, a kid ran out right past, right on the other side of the truck, and we had to stop. So my question is there a new rule, or was there ever a rule that you couldn't put parking spots on the lakeside part of your property?
I honestly don't think there's ever been a rule, and I don't know that we can control that, if it's their property, you know what I mean? You know, Lynn?
There might be a way to use the driveway ordinance as a lever on that, possibly. If they're,
Mayor, do you know?
but that would be a stretch.
Well. One of those situations where like technically you're not supposed to be putting anything within 10 feet of the lake. So when it comes to concrete or gravel, I don't know what he's saying as far as.
Is it concrete?
It's concrete,
Concrete.
Concrete pad.
it's concrete pad.
Um. That's gonna be one of those things with the new ordinance that we just passed here. So where you would need to probably go through the state and get a permit through the state DNR to put in. You're gonna have to get a permit probably for like any repairs to seawalls or anything like that.
So is there anything we can do about this project he's talking about?
Already there.
That's already forced? How long ago they do it? Just recently?
Yeah,
last year.
probably
Last
within
year.
the past year, yeah.
We can, I mean, the planning commission look into it, but I honestly don't know if we can legally do it.
Yeah, I don't see that we have a mechanism to regulate that.
Yeah. Have you ever heard any of that?
Call the DNR maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't mind doing that, or we'll-
Because, yeah, it,
I'll look into it.
from the sound of it, I think what Mary just said about that. Pouring concrete within 10 feet of the lake would be the only regulation that would apply.
Oh, it exceeded it quite, it's in, it's at the edge of the water.
And then,
you don't mind.
and that would make it a DNR issue.
And then.
I'll be more than happy to. I mean, it's just, I would hate to see this developed where others. are
Oh,
gonna do the same thing.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I'll be building houses over there next.
Exactly. Some lakes have ordinances about the view on that,
Oh, yeah.
on that side, you know, and so that.
Yeah,
There are
hopefully
ordinances
DNR
about
can
that.
help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry we couldn't. Anybody else?
Down to.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yes, my name's Steve Howard, I'm trying to, I've been down for a while with medical issues and that, and I'm back up and running. And I wanted to try to see about getting put back on the county to tow in our area out there. Because I can't even tow in front of our house or accident or anything, I got the city. And they give me up to the dollar store. But we have a lot of, in that area there, and that's where I'm located because that's my towing area, you know.
Since you got through your health issues, have you talked to the sheriff?
I left a message that yeah, I left a message, I haven't heard anything though.
We're trying to order a meeting for all of them.
Okay.
Yours makes it a little different because you have you and Carl both have contracts with the city.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to balance out the numbers. But we're gonna have a meeting in August.
Yeah, and I've got another question too, I've been, both of them, I've got some pictures here, you know, TNT going out with the truck, no plates, no insurance, and nothing outside the trucks and towing. And I don't think they ever registered, and same with Carl, he's got a wheel lift on a truck and just a regular truck plate. You know, I just want to bring that up, so, you know, we can just have a meeting and go over all that, because I wanted to try to make everybody on the same page with that.
Absolutely. Trying to do that.
Yeah, anytime you call me with something, I'll come up and answer any questions or bring you any papers you need to get that. I just wanted to notify that I'm back up and running.
My pleasure also.
You know, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think I've done that. Oh, man.
Jack,
I know I ain't got much time.
hey Jack, would it make it easier to balance things out if we just ignore what's generated by their contracts with the cities?
Well, if you do that, then it's not fair. That
Well, I mean,
what they're gonna wanna do.
I don't know about fairness, but I mean, without all the other business we do as a county, we kind of ignore what the municipalities do. That's their thing. That's their purview and scope, and we don't have much
I think they asked.
over that, but
And that would alleviate the advantage he would have.
No, the records can't run in the city at all. Just the.
right.
I think that's what Jack's saying, they really fair to the other record services. If they can't come in the city.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
That's not something you have any control over.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
The city has their rules of what you gotta do to comply,
Right.
or blocking that, and if you do that, you know, then you can be on the city, but that's what you have to do, and you know, that's what I did, and I went through that over the years.
Well, let's go through that meeting Jack was talking
Yeah.
about, and you get through that, and then we'll.
Okay,
But
yeah, I
that's
just
again,
wanted
if
to
we
start
need to.
somewhere, and I figured this would be the place to start.
Yep.
You know, and you will notify me then.
Yes,
Okay.
Anybody else?
Don, just two quick things.
Go ahead.
Number one, I promised to give you a quick update on the rail.
Oh, yeah.
So I've gotten to the point too, actually, where I've been able to, help our own staff, you know, give me a hand out there too. But the thing is that, one of the primary, the mechanical maintenance company, did get the greasers working. We've had a couple of issues with the power. One time it was a bird that knocked it out, but our understanding of it is a lot better as a county and being able to manage it. But the one thing is Mike Crowley, who is, the organization that we work with for maintenance, mentioned having a meeting with us this week, and I was just saying, I'm assuming that would be you, but just was gonna bring that up, that we need to move forward with that and look at it, because with my interactions with Norfolk Southern, they're a lot happier now, just with our reaction to it. And like I said, we probably should have done this a long time ago, where the county got more involved.
Right.
Rachel did change the sign that I mentioned, where before it had Lisa Dan's old cell phone number. Now it has the county dispatch number. I haven't finished the SOP yet, which I'm gonna share with everybody. I have spoken with Stacy. And so dispatch knows that if there's a problem with the rail yard at all, that they call me. And then I'll trigger that and call Rick, and then you're the third one on the call, that you had already agreed to do that. So I want to let you know that that was all underway, and I'll get with you about the meeting with Mr. Crowley. The other thing, and I didn't realize Cassie was going to be here, but I still want to bring this up, is that we're doing a solar site visit for a railroad township with the trustee and with her group. And I didn't know if one of the if one of the commissioners wanted to join for that or not. And I'll also bring it up with Cassie. Cassie, nice to see you. I'm glad to see that you're out. I didn't know that you were going to be here actually, but there's a site visit for the solar site this week with Railroad Township. I don't know if you want to join for that or not, but I was also going to mention that maybe one of the commissioners, if one of you want to join.
One of you guys want to go over?
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you about it here in just a minute, and let you know what time and everything.
Dave, Charlie, said he'll go.
Okay, perfect.
That all you got?
Yeah, it's 3 p.m. Central on Wednesday. Since you're coming in 2 hours.
Motion adjourned. So moved. Second.
David, you bring it back?
Second.